Hey there, I'm Joseph and welcome to the second episode of ContactOut Inside Out. Ever wondered how Elon Musk motivated his team to reach for the stars? In this video, Jeff, our head of growth, will be showing you just how Elon does it. And how we are doing the same with our own team to reach our 20 million ARR goal in 2024. Plus, it's not just about our 2024 goals, we are also talking about our squad and product updates. Featuring our brand new Varipost library and LinkedIn post generator, AI personalizer for sales and recruitment emails, and our search portal optimization. And guess what? You are getting an inside view. So let's roll and see ContactOut in action.
Welcome to the all hands of December 1st. And I'm going to be the presenter today. Yeah, I'll start with this, the Christmas shutdown. So we're going to start on Christmas Day, December 25th, and end on January 2nd, just so you guys know that we will be shut down then. All right. And since it's December and we are 1 month away from the end of 2023, now's a good time to start talking about our 2024 goals. Yeah, we have huge goals in 2024. In Q1, we want to hit 10 million ARR. That's annual recurring revenue, which means we have to average 833K a month, monthly. Basically, we have to make that much per month to get to that 10 million goal. And in total, we need to get to 20 million ARR next year. And that means we need to have a surge in activity and do lots of things to make sure that we hit all those goals. But what I wanted to say about those goals is that without purpose, without any reason, these goals are poop. They are not worthy. And while these goals are really important, I wanted to talk about why they're important, not just for us, but also for you, and not just for Rob, but for every person. This is something that's really close to my heart. So I made a list on the left of things that don't matter by themselves. Achievements don't matter by themselves. Money doesn't matter by itself. Targets don't matter by itself. Deadlines don't matter by itself. And then I put on the right a list of the things that do matter by themselves. And it's only motivation. Everyone here, everyone who works at ContactOut, you guys have no idea the small, tiny sieve that you made it through of how many candidates were reviewed and how hard it is to actually become a ContactOut employee. I know because I was on that side, a recruiting side. Everyone here is very picky about who joined. We have the A list of the A list here. Everyone who's here is amazing. And so I'm not worried whether you guys can or can't do things. The only thing that I worry about is whether you have the motivation. Because I know everybody here, if you're motivated to hit these goals, we will hit the goals. There's no question that we'll hit it. The only thing is you're all very smart people, which comes with its pros and cons. The pro is when you're motivated, you do incredible work. The con is you're too smart. And so you have ideas of other things that might be fun to do or motivated to do when our goals suck or when you don't feel like motivated to work. How do we keep that from happening? I wanted to talk real quickly about this book that Rob's forcing us to read right now. Not forcing, I picked it up because I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. But it's Elon Musk book by Walter Isaacson. It's actually really good. It's actually a really well-written book and it's pretty amazing. And it goes through all of his achievements, like his Zip2, he exited, he built PayPal, reinvented the electric car, made Tesla the richest company in the world, fixed mobile internet with Starlink, founded Neuralink, brain computer chip integration, saved space exploration, something OpenAI. According to him, if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't exist. Debatable. And then the only thing that he hasn't done is solve worldwide traffic problems yet with the Boring Company. Yeah. But just a quick question. If you guys, could you put in the chat, how many things do you think Elon achieved without other people being motivated to help him? Please put the number in the chat. I'll wait. Okay. I see 0. I see 0. I see 99999. You saw the slides. Thank you. Sushi, being honest. Yeah. If Elon was here, he'd probably put 69 in the chat, but the answer is 0. He could not have done any of that stuff by himself. And I think Rob has actually talked to somebody who worked with Elon and was like, oh, he's nothing special or whatever. And I think it just depends on like your context of like, all those things did happen. The question is then, how does Elon motivate people? That's the question. How does Elon motivate people? So I did a quick Google autocomplete here and I put SpaceX engineer into Google. Any ideas of what came up as the autocomplete when you don't do it, but just have a think about what comes up when someone searches for SpaceX engineer as autocomplete? I'm not going to take too long here and I'm just going to put here. It's all about job, salary, pay, hours. This is all extrinsic stuff that you think about when you're thinking about a job. This is someone who's doing this. It does prove money can make you want a job. It can even make you stay at a job. Some of you may be here because it pays the bills, whatever, but it can't fulfill your sense of purpose. And if you don't have a sense of purpose, you won't have motivation. And if you don't have motivation, you will suck at your job. And we don't want people to suck at their job. We want people to be good at their job. So SpaceX is really good at this. So I couldn't find the article where I saw this, but if you go to the SpaceX factory and ask any engineer, what do you do here? They will say something like this. I am working on a thruster. The thruster will allow the Falcon 9 to land safely on reentry. This will make space exploration affordable so that humans can colonize Mars, so we can preserve human consciousness when Earth fails. And this is Elon's mission, right? That's the thing that he cares about, and his goal is he's worried that humanity will die out. So he's thinking about the problems that would cause that and then how to fix those problems. So they all see that connection from the bottom all the way up to the top. The tiniest thing that they're working on, how's that connected to the goals of the company? But very important, also SpaceX engineers would say, I know how working on this thruster at SpaceX is going to get me closer to my life goals. Just let that set in for a second. So they're aware of how what they're doing is going to help the company achieve its goals, but they all have their own individual goals in life too. The challenge is, how do you connect those two? If you can connect those two, you will always be motivated to work. You will be motivated to do great work because you see the connection between what you're doing, how it's going to benefit the company, and then also how it's going to benefit you. So I was going to play part of this SpaceX internship program from 5 seconds.
You know, I thought maybe
listen to the different things that people say here.
get to help on some small part of some assembly maybe. But no, you get thrown right in and they expect you to hold up on your end of it. And it's pretty cool.
So I've had a lot of other jobs and internships.
Sorry, while you're listening to this, think about what is their motivation. Is it to preserve humanity
I'm
and
lucky to have those
consciousness?
opportunities, but none of my previous jobs have put any of my plates in space. A lot of my stuff is going to space on the very next Dragon vehicle. It's very exciting. I'm glad that I get to be a part of it. One of the projects I was working on was a rotor and a turbo pump. As a matter of fact, right behind me, it's being assembled in this rocket. And so it's really cool to see that. The people that you're going to work with closely, your mentors, they are very, very knowledgeable, but also very good with teaching you the material. I learned so much just following from the stuff I've learned about composite. It's not just stuff that you can learn in a book. Don't be afraid.
So I could ask for the chat. I'm going to try not to drag this on too much, but did you hear anyone talk about preserving human consciousness? No. Did you hear them say different goals? Yes. Learning about composites, having leadership, having their stuff put into space, like seeing the impact of your work. So many different things. Right. And it goes on and on. It goes on and on. Like, just go on YouTube and if you go SpaceX engineer on YouTube, you'll see this guy, SpaceX engineer to entrepreneur, and another guy who did high-tech pizza after working at SpaceX. They all have different goals, but working at SpaceX got them one step closer to those goals, because if it didn't, it wouldn't be in the title of this YouTube video. It gave them the credibility that allowed them to do the other things in their lives. So they made that connection, and that kept them motivated at SpaceX. So the list of SpaceX staff who do it to preserve human consciousness, this is the whole list. That is the whole list of people who work there because of that reason. And here's the list of people who do it every day for some other reason, but are still motivated. Literally every other SpaceX employee. They have their own reasons, but they're in alignment with the company, right? So the answer to the question, how does Elon motivate people, is he doesn't motivate people, because a leader can't motivate people. Motivation comes from inside you. And so our job as leaders, and I hope that you're challenging us to do this every day that we talk to you, is to remind people to think of how the team's purpose connects to your interests, right? How what you're working on now is getting you one step closer to your ultimate goals. And if you don't know what your goals are, then try to figure it out. Ask yourself these 3 questions every week. Number 1, what task am I working on? Number 2, how does it connect to ContactOut hitting $20 million ARR? Number 3, how does this task get me closer to my life goals? If you can't answer any of these, it's up to us, the leadership team, to help you fill in the blanks or figure out another way to do this. I'll bring this slide back later to renew on it. But Rob, I want to do a really quick, just a little interview with Rob and just ask you, is this accurate? Yeah. Okay. Building a $1 billion startup, making everyone millionaires. This is his purpose. Why? To document this process, build it in public, create actionable course on startups. Why? To start a startup accelerator. ContactOut team creates their own $1 billion businesses. Why? To replace MBA programs to 100,000 plus companies. Why? Create $1 trillion industry in Silicon Valley ecosystems all around the world. This is your purpose. Do you have can you talk in your own words about this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that when I think about ContactOut, if it's purely for the business that we're building right now, which is we're building a prospecting tool, is that the highest impact thing you have to be doing in the world? Probably not. But I think how I frame this as how it could be the highest impact thing in the world is if we work on building $1 billion startup together, and in the process of that, through equity grants, options, make everybody on the team millionaires. Not only that, learn about the best practices of like how to do a startup and how to create like companies, and then document that in a really actionable way, where we're sharing everything we do via like screen shares. We're sharing like even like our meetings, our like stuff on our Jira board, how we do designs, like our user interviews. None of this is really documented well. Like the current startup courses like YC or whatever, it's very high level. It's just, oh yeah, so you can go and talk to some users and then suddenly you'll have these great startup ideas. And it's not like very clear at all. So I think in the process of documenting that knowledge and being able to help other people do the same, you could eventually like build an audience there and funnel that into a startup accelerator program where you could like fund people to do this as well. And one thing that I really don't like is like my university experience. I did some finance courses and I have friends that have done MBAs. Well, it's completely like irrelevant and not really like useful at all to teaching you the actual skills that you need to build a business. So I think we could do this like way better by doing something like an accelerator, Y Combinator, but at a much larger scale. So instead of 100 companies or 200 companies that go through YC every year, what if we could put through like 100,000 founders every year? That'll be at like 300 times the scale of what like YC is currently doing. And if you could do that, then you'll create like literally $1 trillion industries all around the world. And imagine if you can make every city in the world as profitable and as productive as Silicon Valley. So that's the end goal. And it starts with just, let's do this ourselves. Let's figure out what the best practices are, and then we can teach that.
So how clear are you on how us getting to 20 million ARR in 2024? How does that help you realize these goals of yours?
I think that's the first step, right? Like to go on this journey, we need to grow triple every year, or they call it the triple double. And then, yeah, that's the first part of the process. And in that process, we learn about, hey, how do we do this? And then, yeah, we can document it and share it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is, Rob, if you look at the clarity that Rob has there of reaching 20 million ARR, how does that connect to all of his goals, all of his future? Then it makes sense why he's so passionate and why he'll yell at us, tell us things are bad, make the product better, try and fix design, get involved in the details, basically obsess about ContactOut. He's highly motivated because he has that strong connection. He sees that strong connection. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say that's accurate? You can disagree.
Yeah, I'm doing this more for what's written here than money or like other reasons.
And I think that's really important for like everybody to do that, because I don't expect all of you to take on the personal mission of fixing education. That's Rob's task. That's his goal. I don't expect you but I do expect you to, whatever you're working on, to see that connection between like what that work is working on helps the company achieve its goals and also helps you get one step closer to your goals, because that's where you'll get motivated. Then your manager doesn't have to try and incentivize you. You're incentivized. The only real motivation is intrinsic. It comes from inside. Money's not going to do it. Like all these things are not going to do it. So you see the connection very clearly from 20 million ARR to 100 million ARR to $1 billion exit or whatever, to the trust of the people who are going to give you the funding to make a startup university. It's going to do all these things that, like Rob wants to do, like seeing that connection. This is in my words. He didn't do this. I was just fairly close, but I think it's appropriate that he's in a school today. Because if I was to say one thing that Rob is really trying to do, from my perspective, it's basically that education sucks. I want to fix it. If I was like to really boil it down to one thing, you can disagree with me, but I think the impact of, like you said, of making a Silicon Valley in every city is like there too. But yeah, cool. So yeah, and so I've done the same thing. I've thought about this a lot. I've been here 3 years. It's the longest I've ever been in a company. I need to grow ContactOut so I can document the process and build in public so that founders will read my book, which I'll write one day. Talk about all the practices, all the actionable things that I've done. And then they'll follow that. And then I can work with geniuses on comically hard human problems. I can work with people like you guys the rest of my life, because that's what I love. I grew up with an older brother who's a genius, and I got to work with him on all our stupid little fun projects, and he's a genius. And I really enjoy that. That is really fun for me. Actually, this matters more who I'm working with than what I'm working on. That is my thing. And the connection's really clear for me also. Do all those things so that I can do the book and people will be like, oh yeah, it's Jeff from ContactOut, and be like, oh, the ContactOut. Yeah. So that then I get all the doors open to me be able to work with people, the Tanyas and the Rahuls and the Rishis and the Jerwins and all the geniuses out there that I want to work with. Yeah. So this is the dream. If I was to mean the dream, this is it. $20 million ARR in 2024. Rob's clear about how it connects to his goals, which is like helping fix education, making Silicon Valley everywhere. So the question is, how does it connect to your goals? How do you think about that? And we actually happen to have on our team, like the best person I've ever known on goal setting, who happens to be Joseph. And I'm sure if you reach out to him and talk about goal setting, if you guys were in his goal setting session in Bali, literally, I was telling him the other day, I set 4 goals in that session. I've just completed all 4. All 4 have been just completed. And it's because of the way that he set those. Yeah. This is the key, right? Is understand that. So challenge your leader. 2 things. Challenge your leader to say, how is what I'm working on going to get us to 20 million ARR? And challenge yourself to understand, how is what I'm working on going to get me one step closer to my goals? If you don't know what your goals are, talk to Joseph or do some deep thinking about that. Joseph's a good way. And then here, just as a reminder, the 3 questions to ask yourself: what task am I working on? How does it connect to hitting 20 million ARR? How does this task get me closer to my life goals? Try and think about that every week. All right. So, and squad and department updates.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Sweet. I'll continue on with the updates. It's hard to continue what Jeff just followed, but Jeff was my opening act. Just kidding. Cool. Updates from Athena squad and what we've been working on. Starting off with some metrics, our extension metrics are looking stable. This week we had the highest daily active users at 12,700. This is primarily the increase is because we had a increase in new users using the extension. So this week we had 1,000 plus users signing up and using our extension for the first time. In terms of AI comments and connection requests, they've been consistent. There hasn't been much growth yet. The numbers are stable at around 100 users daily using AI comments and AI connection requests. For ContactOut Anywhere, 2 days back, we saw an increase in the daily active users to 100, and exactly sure what specific item caused the increase. But the assumption is increase in overall extension activity results in a proportional increase in ContactOut Anywhere as well. Cool. So last week we launched the viral content library, which allows our users to see viral posts and also make new posts out of them. So the results, so the metrics haven't been that great. I think the key item here is we need to increase awareness of our features. So since last week we had around, say, on average 200 users who visited viral content library and around 20 to 30 of them creating a post. So these are very low numbers when we compare them to the extension. So we will be working on how we can further increase awareness for this feature as well. Yep. Coming to the product updates. Yeah, I think the main item was last week we released viral post library and the AI post generation. So we have a good content library out there of LinkedIn posts. So users can come visit, click on rewrite with AI and generate new LinkedIn posts for themselves. And as a continuation and improvement on this, we have started to work on a LinkedIn post scheduler as well. So all the posts that users create using our viral content library, they will be able to post immediately from our ContactOut tool or even schedule it for later as well. So this is in the works currently. So each week trying to improve the quality and the quantity of the posts in the viral library. So for now, we are trying to manually scrape and add around 200 LinkedIn posts each week, but we'll soon figure out a way to scale this across different topics as well. Some of the other items, we've also been trying to fix some bugs across our extension, some user reported bugs, especially with exporting to CSV and to saving to an integration. And we've also made some improvements to our internal sales metrics dashboards. These are the major items upcoming next, I think, for the next sprint and for the next month as well. Key focus for me, at least, will be to figure out how we can get more awareness. I think one major item is video tutorials and product tutorials for the different features we have. And another item is also identifying churn and figuring out where the major drop-off points are, especially with the extension workflows. And also continuing development for post scheduler and post planning for the next quarter. Sweet. That's pretty much it from my side. Over to Rishi.
Thanks, Rahul. Following up from the opening 2 acts, continuing the show. From Compass Squad this week, carrying over with updates from the previous ones. So the single recipient campaigns on extension is still in testing. We were able to solve all the bugs that previously showed up, but we want to polish this as much as possible before we release this to users. So that's still in progress. Same goes for the variable library. Even for this, we fixed majority of the bugs that we saw while development. still doing some sanity so that we can have a polished product out to users. On the things that got released in these last 2 weeks, so we have email generation back on the extension. We have added this to our AI personalizer, so users can now go and create sales pitches or recruiting emails. Previously, we got feedback from our users since we had this as one massive input, which took in a prompt from users and then generated an email. Now, what we've done is we've changed it to specific details that we're asking users to fill in. Based on these details and based on the data that we have from the leads that they want to pursue, we'll try to come up with a personalized email for each of these. So this is live now. You can try and use it. You can see 2 new options on the email personalizer. On campaign side of things, we've added some additional data fields. Previously, this was just email name and company. Now we've brought in a split between first name, last name. We added some location details, the headline from their LinkedIn profiles, and also the LinkedIn URL. These will only be added into the campaign if a user adds a recipient from any of our internal sources. So let's say extension, search portal, or lists. Whereas if they're doing it from their CSV, they have complete control over what fields they want to add. So that's something new that's been added. Next up, we're going to be adding, this is almost completed development. We're working on having the ability to add attachments in campaign emails. This is something that's very frequently been requested from our users as well as our sales team. So we're hoping to help them out with this. You can see that at the bottom of each email, you will be able to add a couple of new attachments going out. So that the next thing that's also something that's actively being requested is having the ability to edit active campaigns. Currently, we have put like a 1,500 recipient limit per campaign, and we generally promote it to users to duplicate an existing campaign and not try to blast out emails from one specific campaign. So now users have started asking us, but what about if we only add like 100 recipients to a campaign and we want to go in, change our outreach messaging, and then come back and add more people? So this is the progress. This is our step to make progress on that front, hopefully helping out both our users as well as our sales team continue using this product. That's all from Compass for this week. Over to Tanya for Vikings.
Thanks, Rishi. Also, shout out to Jeff. Thanks for the awesome speech, Jeff. I guess that is something all of us really needed to hear right now. Cool. Continuing on the product updates. So currently, the major thing we're working on is improving the speed on Search Portal. So we noted that the loading time of Search Portal had peaked to more than 5 seconds. And this is a very pressing issue because the conversion rate on websites is proportional to the loading time. So let's say you land on a website and it takes a lot of time to load. You will obviously leave that page and move to the next page. So this is the reason we're working on improving the speed. And on investigation, we found out that one of the slowest filters was the radius filter on location, which is what we have removed for now. Shout out to Ian and Mark for these findings. And for every search request, we're doing more than 220, which is crazy. So currently we're working on optimizing these queries and improving the speed. We try to improve it as much as possible. And even the smallest improvement can create a big impact. For example, if you look at Walmart, they improved the loading time on their website by 1 second, and it improved their conversion rate by 2%, which is like millions of users. And for us, improving the speed even by 1 second can mean hundreds of thousands of users. Yeah, currently we're treating this as the main priority and working on it. The second thing is optimizing mobile site onboarding. So we figured that if we double down on mobile app, we can sabotage the conversion rates from SEO pages because the drop down to download the mobile app would be much greater than if users stay on the mobile website and reveal the email and then sign up to the app, then sign up to our website. Instead of doubling down on the app, we are doubling down on optimizing the onboarding experience on the mobile website. And currently we're working on quick UI fixes and optimizing the screens that users get when they land on the search portal front directory page. There's a major bug that found out here that users are unable to reveal profile because of onboarding tooltips, and the conversion rate from those pages is low, especially on mobile. Muskan and I are working on optimizing the onboarding. And then the third thing, which is an ongoing initiative, we're working on polishing the search portal. There's always bugs that we find and users report, so we're working on fixing them. There's an issue that was reported recently where users are getting only American numbers for non-American profiles. So the data team and Albert, they're working on investigating and fixing this. Other than that, 2 other issues, navigation was cut off on the company search, and that made users unable to move to next pages. And similarly, on company search itself, the save companies was not working. The first issue has been pushed and the second one will be pushed by end of day today. The last thing we're working on is getting PIPL data on search portal, especially for name searches. For search portal, the maximum queries that are done, they use the name filter. In fact, name filter is the most used filter on search portal. And that is why we're working on improving the results that users get when they're using the name filter. We'll be querying PIPL and then the API is going to return us some profiles, which we are hoping to show on the search portal. And we'll be using name, location, and age as parameters to the call. Name and location we can easily get from users. Age we do not have as a filter right now, so we are looking to introduce an age filter. But this won't be immediately visible on the search portal. This will only be visible when user is searching by name. So we are working on figuring out a UX to the same. And the overall goal for this initiative is to improve our match rate and coverage for name searches and provide more and more results to users. Yep, that's it from Vikings. Over to Data Squad.
Thank you. For the past 2 weeks, we worked on the improved data quality, set PIPL numbers by name and the location and edge. In this way, we could improve the phone number coverage from 30% to 70%. We also worked on the work email domain coverage increased 2% to 86%. Two of our members worked with the campus team on the campaigns on the extension. We set up add new SMTP check servers and did some enrichment like for pet bills and the 120 million rules for the sports AI company. Next page. For the next, we'll continue to work on the reflect AI API service and get data from our competitor and continue to optimize the data quality and the coverage. That's all for our team. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. So for the content side, so this past week, we were working on is the weekly email newsletter as well as the LinkedIn content. So the problem we're trying to solve is how can we increase our impression and engagement for our LinkedIn posts so that we can further build trust and awareness with our audience, our ICPs at scale. So the solution that we would have is to leverage on our email newsletter to cross-promote on our LinkedIn posts so that we can prompt users to go and check out the LinkedIn post for the full video or engage with it in exchange for a lead magnet, right? To see whether that helps with our engagement. What we want to learn is whether this cross-promotional method works using the email newsletter as well as the LinkedIn post. We assume this from some of the research that we have done from other influencers that they could be using this method. So we want to track whether does it help to improve the impression, the reaction, the comments, eventually our leads for us as well. So how we did that is doing an A/B test. One of it is an A/B test and another one is a before and after launching on 2 posts. So one is Rob's recent video post as well as my whole post. And we'll see the results. So for this one, we saw an open rate of 8.3%, which is 10% lower compared to our previous week. Last week, we got it about 9+%. So we look at increasing this, but our click to open rate went up by 71%, which is 34%, I guess, by the links that we have in the big thumbnail that we have as well. So this is really good. So inside of this, if you see what we have here are 2 areas. So number 1 here is the place where we are promoting the first post, which is the featuring our last all hands video, where I kind of go in behind the scenes and see how we run sessions like this. And number 2 is to share your vote, which is a redirect to the poll post that I did on getting people to share what is their number 1 challenge when it comes to social selling, right? And in exchange for a lead magnet that I will give them. All right. So with the LinkedIn post 1 or Rob's video, though you see my face there, before we launch it, so the day on that we launched, on the end of the first day, we got about 38 reactions, 2 comments and 3 reposts. So after the day, when we launched the email newsletter, including featuring this post, we did see a 55%, anywhere from a 50 to 100% increase in our engagement stats. So rising up the reaction to now actually 60 instead of 59, 3 comments and 6 reposts, right? So this is showing good early signs that it works. However, for my poll post that I did, so I'm comparing both 2 poll posts, 1 poll that I did before, which is what is your number 1 challenge when building a personal brand? There's 4 options there. And then the poll 2, which I did it this week, is what's your number 1 challenge when it comes to social selling? So 2 different topics. But what I get from my first poll is 14 votes, 2.5K impression. And for the second one, is 8 votes so far and 1.5K impression. So when you compare it, it seems to have dropped. But to be fair, the caveat here is that this poll 1 has been out all week. Poll 2 is just a day, or actually 21 hours only. So what I've learned is that sharing a preview of our LinkedIn post as the main feature of the email newsletter does help to increase our engagement metrics by 50 to 100%. That includes having a clickable image preview, like the video thumbnail, or in the future, we'll be experimenting a screenshot of the LinkedIn post to capture attention and drive traffic. And also having just only a tag-based CTA and link does not seem to work as well. Plus, putting at the bottom, some users might miss it, but worthwhile to just continue experimenting and see whether it's still true. So some bonus learning, to which shout out to Peter for this. We discovered that the email newsletter, some of it went to spam, which could result in a lower open rate. So one thing that I will do in the future when after crafting up the copy for the email newsletter is just run it against a spam check filter or tool, just to adjust the words there. So sometimes because of the words that is used inside, though from what I read, it doesn't seem too spammy, but the spam detector will feel like a spammy. We try to avoid this and get it to a better score and see whether it helps to increase the open rate. Next step, we'll continue experimenting with the email newsletter to promote our LinkedIn posts, expanding to featuring some of our sales team's posts, as well as continue to produce high quality content for our guides as well. And that's it for my side. Over to Shushi.
Cool. Thank you so much, Joseph. And thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff has been always watching for helping me understand what could be the personal advantage or the personal gain which I could get from working at ContactOut. And that has been one of the major intrinsic motivators which keep me driving and working here. So thank you, Jeff, for making everyone spark that idea. Cool. So coming with famous people pages, we till now launched 40K pages. We expected to launch a lot more pages till now, but we are finding it a little bit of struggle to find popular names. So that's why the process is taking a really long time, because we are filtering pages right and left. So till now, 40K pages, good enough improvement. The next plans for this are to get more pages which we can launch out to. We have more around 90K pages which we are planning to launch. These 90K pages, they necessarily are not the actual famous people, but they are and duplicate named people, but they are famous on LinkedIn. So we are going to use their name for the volume purpose, and we're going to add data from our LinkedIn database to create an profile page for them. So that is the next experiment which we are going to try. We are also fixing the sign-up flow for mobile and desktop for the people directory pages. And about the interlinking of pages, this is going to be one of the interesting experiments which we are going to run. So we are doing two types of interlinking. One is contextual interlinking. The second one is interlinking all our old pages which are currently live, which are already getting traffic to the new pages which we are launching. So with contextual interlinking, what we are trying to do, consider that Emma Watson is connected to Emma Stone, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Or like Emma Stone is connected to Andrew Garfield and Emma Watson. But Emma Watson or Andrew Garfield is connected to Tom Holland, which is the new Spider-Man. So what we want to do is connect Emma Stone to Tom Holland as well. So when a person looks at a profile, there is a possibility that because they are from a similar acting community, a person would be interested in going through that route of looking at Tom Holland's profile as well. So by that logic, we are improving the current interlinking to 4x amount of interlinks per page. So that is the contextual interlinking part. And we are also going with first interlinking, which we can say, in which we are interlinking our old pages to the new pages, from which we will be linking around 44 links to our new pages from our old pages. So 44 old pages will be pointing to our new pages. So that is going to give our new pages a little bit of push from the crawlers, because the old pages are already indexed, and they do keep on, they are being crawled in a frequency of like twice or thrice a month. So expecting to increase the number of pages interlinked by this. The next bunch is to launch 850K pages. For this, we are scraping names from white pages. We are finding last name, first name, and we are trying to find the best pattern which we can. We also found around 20K names from Twitter, and there are other directory which we are scavenging from to get as many popular names as possible. Yeah, that's the update for my side. Over to Jeff.
Nice. I keep it short and sweet for our update. Link building team's doing great. Building links to the recruitment guide. We're not seeing any rankings movings yet, and it's only been like a few weeks. But that the links have ramped up to 10 last week. This week again 10. So I think everyone's now sending like to 350 new domains for each. I got a funny story though. I'll keep it short. But last night I met up with a bunch of head of growth from Sydney, and this guy just moved here from the UK. And he got hit up by our link building team and took the offer and gave us a link for a free subscription of ContactOut. And he said it was brilliant. He actually started doing it himself as well. And apparently he just got reached out to by Rocket Reach, who offered him the same thing. So now Rocket Reach is actually copying that method. Hey, it's just a shout out to the link building team for keep doing what you're doing. You're very professional. I love the activity. I've been working hard on the sales plays, trying to get the revenue up for us. Bunch of different cadences. A cadence is just it's like emails that we send out on a schedule. So to be day 1, this, day 5, this, day 10, this, trying to get them to take more actions. The actions we want to get them to take: meetings with our sales team. In a meeting with the sales team can find out an opportunity where they could buy ContactOut for get value for their company, and we can get a sale. So I've been running like 4 kind of cadences. One of them, like restriction, did a small sample, 27 leads, got 3 meetings booked. That worked. So I'll keep doing that. The renewal cadence, this was shout out to Ilya, who told me that we didn't have one. So when a customer joins us, we actually don't do any kind of emails to their end users, which they might have 20, 30 users who don't know how to use ContactOut, get a seat and don't know how to use it. So I wrote a 22 email sequence for the entire year, 365 days, with the intention of keeping them a customer. And also, if they're a recruiter for someone now, they might move to another company next year. There'll be a sales opportunity for us. This is how we continue to increase and reduce churn, increase those renewals. One thing I learned from that is that these cadences take forever to write. So I guess I never gave the sales team the credit that they're due. So shout out to Morty and the team. They're really hard. The other thing I learned from that was just the number of times that I used the resources that Shelby's been building, the video tutorials, also the documentation, the API documentation from data team or Greg and the guys, whoever wrote that. Excellent. So having all this supporting stuff to send people, including like LinkedIn posts, part of the cadence is just to say we have a really active LinkedIn. So go and check it out. It's all because of you guys. When I first started at ContactOut, no offense to Rob, but we didn't have much of a soul as a company. I think thanks to a lot of you guys, and Shelby in large part, have built the soul of this company. So thank you. The other thing we're doing is the sales team gets assigned leads. Built this like Teams cadence that we had run previously. Turns out that it works for meetings. Their assigned leads are getting like a 3% meeting rate. Problem there is that the sales team has to send it themselves, which they didn't do. Need to figure out how to either get them to do it or to do it myself. We also restarted cold email about 5 days ago. This is where we have Luke's team doing outreach. They're sending about 700 messages a day. We got 10 positive replies from that today. We're looking at the qualified leads to see if that continues to increase. So lots to do. And I've been getting in the weeds of stuff, getting into the details of stuff, which again, reading Elon's book, you see the design of the Tesla. He got involved in the design of the headlights. He got involved in the size of the seat, like every detail. So again, shout out to all of you for doing your best, but to us leadership team, us getting into the weeds, getting into the details, so important. Challenge us to do that with you guys, please, because that's been really important. Because I noticed the cadences that I'm writing, they don't get done or they don't get done right unless I'm involved in actually like quality checking it. So yeah, next week we'll be running these for larger groups. Restriction cadence, we've got 16,000 people to send that to, see how many meetings we can get. Start sending the renewal cadence, the team's cadence, either getting the sales team to run it or just running it from our virtual salesperson. And then, trying to get for the cold email people to actually take a meeting after trying ContactOut. The other thing we have is about $3 million in deals that we lost this year, where we had more than 2 years of sales with that company. Getting some of that revenue back. Again, Ilya's idea, really great. Running a win-back cadence to everybody who ever used ContactOut from those companies and saying, hey, come back, look at all these cool AI tools that our PMs and engineers are building. We're way more than what we were when you were a customer previously, and try to win back some of that 3 mil that we lost in churn revenue from last year. So that's my focus. You guys already saw why, and I'm pretty clear about that. And we'll go to shout outs. All right. I can't see clearly who that is.
That's Simon. So
Simon.
Shout out to Simon for general craftsmanship, making small improvements such as like the banner to let ContactOut staff know when they're in impersonation mode, and enhancing the admin credit pool page to clearly communicate key information such as credits remaining expiry, and adding health checks to email campaigns. So none of these were tasks that were specifically assigned. He just saw that there's a way to improve it, and he did. Shout out to Rob for challenging the team to do better and leading by example. So a concrete example of this is we were using PIPL API, but never thought to use it differently. We just used the LinkedIn URL to phone number, but now we do name, location, age to phone number. And shout out to Peter for implementing that work. So I did a quick calculation. Our phone match rates jumped from 30% to 70%. If we're making 10 cents per phone credit, that's equivalent to about $2,000 per day in revenue.
Whoa.
So I guess the only other thing to note about that one is in Tanya's slide, there was a question around some customers saying that they're getting US phone numbers for like European profiles. The thing with data is it's always a balancing act between the coverage and the accuracy. And for us, we have to figure out how to strike that meaningful balance.
That's amazing. Do you want to do this one too, Hopper?
Shout out to Greg for being dedicated in launching the famous people pages as fast as possible. From updating the name, filtering processes, scraping data from Google, and launching pages with as few bugs as possible. Thanks for making that easier.
Oh.
And I guess one more shout out to Shelby. She gives ContactOut. I am more proud.
I didn't finish that thought. Sorry. I was writing that right as I really wanted to write something thoughtful, but I had to lead today. So usually I would just do that in the background. But yeah, I'm more proud. I'm more proud. I was going to say, what I was trying to say here was that I'm proud of the resources that I'm sending to our customers of how to connect their API, connect to the API or use integrations, things like that. Previously, I would have just sent them like a textual description. There's more shout outs in the shout out channel. I'm hearing from Rob. Let's go there. Where does it start? It starts from Wednesday, November 29th. Shout out to Rahul for always taking care and this is from me, personal responsibility of the product. I reported some thoughts on the icebreakers and he dove in and threw on some fixes in under 24 hours. Straight up G. Shout out to Rahul. Shout out to Greg from Sushi for being dedicated and launching the famous pages as fast as possible. From updating the name filtering process, scraping data from Google and launching pages with as low possible bugs. Thanks, Greg, for making things easier. And from Sai, a shout out to Zyman and Azri for their contributions in reviewing the recent PRs related to mail merge and providing fantastic suggestions. And shout out to Bangchin for swiftly addressing the Outlook SMTP SSL issue and promptly identifying the token disappearance. Thanks. I understood some of those words, but the sentiment is definitely there. And we move on to this.
Oh,
sorry.
Shout
Were
out
there
to
any other?
Jeff for the awesome presentation today.
Thanks, guys. Sorry, were there any other shout outs, guys? Do you want to put them in the chat now? Shout out to Rahul from Sushi for managing work so well and his engagement in wedding are very intense in India. Okay. I hope I get a shout out when I get married next year. I expect that Sushi. Shout outs. +1 from Shelby. Okay. And then we have this GIF of Millhouse rolling down the hill.
So basically we have one stopping leaving us today. You can move to the next slide.
All right.
And that would be Shelby, the face of ContactOut.
Shall I play this?
Oh, there's not much to it. She's just disappearing, but she wanted to say a couple words.
I don't think we have time. I'm sorry. See you guys. No, I'm kidding. Don't leave.
Peace. Thanks, Albert, for picking the best low loop here. It's so funny. Yeah, I just wanted to say a brief farewell and goodbye to everybody. Today is my last day. Big shout out from my end. Thank you for these almost 2 years here. I've learned so much and grown so much as a person. And yeah, big shout out to the people that have shaped my time here. Jeff, shout out to Joseph, to Rob, AC, Sushi, Jerwin, and everyone else that I got the pleasure to interact and work with. And yeah, and just everyone here. Thank you for supporting all the content that we've made so far and hope you continue to support. And also, I was just thinking today about what my highlight of my time here is that Christmas party skit that I did with Jeff. That was a time and it will never fail to make me smile. That is my legacy.
You just gotten an inside look into our latest All Hands meeting, where we dove deep into the motivation and success, drawing inspiration from Elon Musk's leadership style. If you're a recruiter, salesperson, startup founder, or CEO, we hope that these insights were helpful for you. And if you're curious about our journey towards becoming a $1 billion company, I've just got the thing for you. Click right here to watch our very first episode in the ContactOut series, where we have reviewed our latest enhancement in generative AI tech for LinkedIn, our user engagement strategy, as well as other features that we have released. Don't miss out on this exciting updates. Click right here to continue this journey, and I'll see you there.